Real quick, just one transaction. We signed tight end Jake Powell, and we waived quarterback JT Barrett. We're still at our 90 count. Any questions?
Sean, we kind of figured Mike will be in pretty soon. But is it comforting, I guess, to have him in?
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, he's an important part of what we do offensively. He's experienced. I felt real positive. I knew Mike was going to come in good shape, so it's good to have him back. It's good to see him out there moving around.
Sean, what would you say is Michael Thomas's greatest asset? His hands?
Yeah, I think he's a strong target in traffic. He's one of those guys that has a good radius for the quarterback. I think he's a tremendous practice. I mean, he's a guy that really works at his craft relative to the whole week leading up to the game. But his strength is run after the catch. Those are all things that I think he does very well.
Sean, do you think he's about as double covered, especially since he operates in traffic, about as double covered as you'll see in this league?
Well, it's hard to say because, I mean, it varies per team, per coverage. There are weeks where, we'll get a heavier role, maybe on third down specifically. I think a lot of it depends on down and distance. I'm sure there are a handful of players. You look closely at defense as to, who you got to take away. And certainly he's one of those players, if you're defending us, that you want to, limit and try to minimize the threat he can have on you. And, that's something that you've got to work through formationally. That's something you got to work through relative to the quarterback's progression. And that's part of the little bit of the chess match each weekend.
And does that make them, in that catch rate he had last year of almost 85% was so kind of astronomical anyway, but considering...
Well, the catch rate just deals with the consistency at which a ball goes to him and he catches it. But if you're putting on a Wednesday night, third down reel, and you're the opponent and you're looking at 2 to 3 or 4 to 6 and you're trying to look at who the threats are, you're trying to make sure you've got a good game plan to cover those threats, and he's one of them.
Was it important to get his contract done sooner rather than later, just so you can get him back out here?
Well, I think that's the case. You don't run into these situations like you might have 8-10 years ago, where you might go 5, 6, 7 days with your rookie first round pick. That's kind of changed now with the slot system. But it was good to get it done and get him out here. Obviously, we're preparing. There's a lot that we're doing right now, and so there always is that sense of urgency.
Sean, when you look at Drew working with different receivers, and obviously with Jared Cook, like zone versus man, you see him on a particular play, maybe it might have been an incompletion, and Drew will get with Jared and say, well, this is what I'm expecting. Is that something you do it on the field and in the film room, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, that'll happen with an immediate response. Drew might grab him, coach might grab him, and you see something, and then again you confirm it when you're watching the tape. That's why we try to, as much as we can, watch the film in groups rather than separate. So there is that dialogue, and yeah, I mean that's the things that you're trying to get ironed out prior to the regular season starting.
Sean, in the past, you've highlighted players that when the pads come on, it kind of changed for the positive for them. Is there a couple of guys that...
One guy, we were talking about personnel yesterday. I thought the last few days, Dwayne Washington stood out. He's someone that, we know we can play in the kicking game, but he's had some good practices, and you've noticed it. I think Trey Hendrickson's at his weight and playing well. Onyemata is another player. I mean, those are a few players that that are you're seeing pretty consistently. McCoy's done well inside, and it's still early.
Sean, you talked about how Mike Thomas practices at such a high level. How much does that impact other guys to also help them? Yeah, I mean,
it's just there's a formula for him, and sometimes even in walkthrough, with Mike, it's almost full speed. Darren Sproles was that way. So he's got a way that he gets ready in regards to stretch and prepared mentally and physically to play a game each weekend. And you know, he's pretty routine driven that way.
Sean, Teron Armstead has developed into one of the top players in the league. Talk about his development from the time you drafted him to what you're seeing today.
Well, he's a tremendous athlete, and if you went back all the way to the combine and you really looked at some of the numbers, they were unique for a tackle. You know, how he ran, his movement skills. He played at a small school, but you know, was a real good third-round pick for us. He's got fantastic leadership. You know, he's tough. Shoot, I can remember the first game he started, and then that year we're in the playoffs. I mean, there's a toughness, and I mean by not only a physical toughness, but there's a mental toughness with him. You know, some grit, and I think that clearly he's one of our leaders on this team, and someone that's well respected.
Sean, you're getting with the officials. They come in later today. Anything specific, point emphasis-wise, you're looking to ask them?
So typically when they come in, last night they'll have a presentation. There's a video they show. We'll talk about the rule changes. We'll talk about the points of emphasis. There'll be questions in the room. They'll show the video, and then, you know, we're fortunate now to have them, today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You know, we'll have them for a stretch where the players can communicate. They'll throw a flag on the field. We won't stop the drill, but you know, there's always that positive interaction that you get relative to how they see certain things. And we've got a handful of guys we haven't worked with before, and I think that's good.
Your defensive backs or secondary, they have questions about the new pass interference rule. They come to you about that and say, hey,
no, I don't think. Look, there's no new standard. Pass interference is going to be evaluated just like it has been before on the field, and then, you know, what's out of their control is if it goes to replay. So the questions relative to pass interference being something that can be challenged, or offensive pass interference is, you know, when it goes back to New York, what's the standard there? And it's clear and obvious, and those guys have all the angles and copies to look at a play. And then, of course, inside 2 minutes, the replay official is in charge of stopping it. And, you know, what are his standards? And it's real time, you know, seeing it real time on a replay. So that was one of the things we discussed, but we discussed a lot of different things last night.
Sean, does this even get talked about, or they involve the length of a game with the TV network people? As far as, you know, you got rule changes and all, the window they want, how long a game to last, does that even come about?
Yeah,
Is that
I mean,
behind the scenes?
that's kind of behind the scenes, because that can be controlled relative to how long your halftime is. That can be controlled relative to when the ball's in play to start the second half. There's things that can take place to keep it at that spot where they want it, that are really outside the officials and outside the coaches and the players, and so when it's a change, though, relative timing, you know, sometimes you're playing in a stadium. Your halftime in our league's pretty quick, and, you know, if you're walking back up a ramp to your right, down the hallway to a locker room, you're probably quickly going to the restroom, maybe grabbing something to drink or eat. Coaches are going through quick adjustments, and then you're meeting, and then you're returning. So the halftime, compared to a college halftime, is much different.
So about a week into camp, is the depth kind of playing out the way you thought it was going to? Is going to be a lot of guys kind of fighting for a few?
Yeah, I mean, look, yesterday was the first time we met personnel-wise. It's still early, and so, you know, we're working with a lot of different rotations, and you know, there's a lot ahead of us here. So it's still about the technique and fundamentals, making sure that the players know their assignments. And then that'll begin to unfold, and all of this is important.
Sean, when a player is new to a team, is there a point during training camp when you start worrying about how much missed time they might accumulate compared to they're a veteran and there's no concern at all?
No, the alert when a player's new is, where's he coming from? Is he coming from a team where he just finished playing and he's in shape? Has he been in an off-season program? Has he not been in an off-season program? It's more about what's he ready for, so that we don't have an injury the first, you know, couple days he's out here. So a lot of it depends on the specific player.
Did Mike have to do the conditioning drill, or was there not really?
Well, we just got here, so at some point we'll work through that.
Yeah.
You had some coaches that interviewed around the league on your staff.
Yeah.
Were you surprised you were able to retain both your offensive and defensive? I mean, you got a good staff.
Yeah, a lot of that is really out of your control. I've said this before. I think it's a good thing, and it's something that you want to, as the head coach, help. You want to see these guys have these opportunities, you know, especially in a head coaching position or even a coordinator position. So, you know, I think we've got a handful of guys that are going to be head coaches in this league on this current staff. And now, what specifically are the teams looking for that they interview with? I don't know, and that varies per team. But you know, you get a little bit more concerned if no one's calling.
Right, but you have to feel good about the retention.
Oh,
The guys would be
listen,
wanting to leave.
I like our group. Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of these guys I've been with for quite a while. Some of them maybe not as long, but yeah, I mean, I think that that the number one thing I learned is when you're an assistant, you know, you focus on where your feet are at the ground at that time, and focus on working and doing your job. This is a small league. It's, you know, it's not, there aren't a lot of secrets, and very quickly word gets out as to who's doing well, and I think if you do that, those other things come. All right, thank you.
Josh, what was your reaction to Michael Thomas signing his contract and finally getting in here?
It's exciting, competitive guy, great teammate, so it's just good to have him in the building, good to get to work. Always got a smile on his face, ready to go, so it was good news.
Where were you when you found out the news?
I was at home with the kids. Yeah, I was at home with the kids.
Josh, where are you at in your career now? Obviously contributing on special teams, run blocking and being part of the pass game. What would be one area you'd want to get a little better? Is it in the pass receiving game or what?
Yeah, I've always prided myself in being able to do everything. So I think it's a combination of refining some skills, getting on the same page with Drew. That's one thing I really want to do. But just being there consistent in really different roles, kind of doing everything. So focus on all-encompassing, but just being on the same page as Drew in the pass game as well.
So how was the addition of Jerry Cook in the meeting room? How is a veteran like him?
He's great. He's a great guy, competitive. It's a real competitive guy. He's a great teammate. Brings a lot of knowledge to the table. He's been playing for a long time, willing to share it as well. So he's been a lot of fun to play with.
It's been like watching him and Drew kind of just establish that relationship and that chemistry. And
I think it happened pretty naturally.
Yeah.
It happened pretty naturally. He's got really good body demeanor. So I would say it was a natural transition for him here.
What are you working on most heading into this offseason? What's number one for you? Something you want to add to the repertoire games?
Yeah, like I just said, I think it's just being on the same page with Drew in the pass game, working on some of the underneath stuff, and just being consistent and competitive in all those different roles I play.
Thank you, Josh.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
Fire away, guys.
Mike, we knew you'd be in eventually, but what was the most difficult part about not being here?
Just, the missing those reps, competing against my teammates, knowing that if I win, the guy across from me got better, or if he wins, then, I got better, and there's ways to coach off of that. Just so the development and becoming a better player and a great player, you can't do that sitting at home.
Were you able to, replicate some of that competitiveness when you weren't here?
Yeah, for the most part, as much as I could, but, it's a lot different when you're just out here and you're competing against another hungry opponent.
Mike, when you look at your early career, part of NFL history, setting a reception record, and I think it was about a month ago you said, was kind of the game plan, you would stick to it? I don't want a penny more or a penny less. This is the market value, this is what I want.
Yes, sir. And I have to earn it too, and I feel like I've been earning it, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. That's how I approach the game, I set high goals, and I want to live up to them. So I feel like, you can't really find that out about a person from Q&A or maybe watching on practice. You got to really know the person and stuff like that. But I know deep down in my heart and my gut that, I love playing this game. I love competing, and I feel like I compete with the best.
What was your routine like during the practices that you couldn't be at?
I guess just looking at Twitter and seeing who's making plays and checking you guys' highlight and watching the film on our iPads and stuff like that. So at first, the first couple of days it was I guess it was kind of easier, and then as it kept going on and prolonging, then it kind of got like, it felt like days turned into weeks. So you just want to be out here, and we have ultimate goal to be last team standing and play for a championship. So I can't help my team at home.
Mike, you said in your statement, hasn't sunk in the highest paid receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's different for you. You've always been motivated by slights, so you're gonna be able to have that same chip on your shoulder now you can sort of get lauded.
Yeah, for sure. And I come from a competitive family. My uncle was the first receiver drafted in 1996, overall #1. And when I got drafted, it was what it was. I won 42nd and 47 and stuff like that. But I had to control what I could control, and now I feel like we both have a little something to talk about, see which one holds more weight. But, just being a competitor and wanting to be the best, I feel like when you set high goals and you attack them, so there's rewards at the end of it.
How rewarding is that, knowing that you've kind of earned, obviously, this credit and this time?
It's definitely a blessing. And now it's time to motivate and inspire other guys to go do the same thing, and just play for that ultimate goal, to play for a championship. and that's the #1 goal here. And now that's my main focus.
Mike, with the addition of Jerry Cook, how is that going to help your game?
Oh, I'm sure you guys have seen it. He's a football player. He's a functional football player. He's a Pro Bowl tight end. He's for real. So anytime you add another guy into our offense that's for real, it only can make it better.
Mike, you hear so many times people playing in that NFL contract, that second deal is so important. For you, what does it do in terms of foundation setting for, I guess, your family and the people around you that you love the most?
After I signed that deal, I told Mickey I'll be back to do a third deal. So, it's just the process. That was what time it was there, and now it's on to the next goal. Like, kind of something you set. You're now in the highest paid. Now you got to go earn it. So that's my biggest thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to earn every penny of it.
Mike, what went into the decision to sit out and to kind of
that's the business part of it, and that's I hired an agent, and my agent is now he becomes the coach in negotiations, and I have to listen to the guy that I hired. So that was what they told me, and those were the protocols that I followed.
Was there a day you targeted to say I got to be in by this day to really get the proper preparation?
No, I was in San Diego training the whole time. I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I just didn't report on the day that everyone else reported.
We all speculated
guys,
about
2 more, please.
About who might want to go first, quote unquote, among all the receivers looking for contract extensions. That didn't matter to you. You didn't mind going first.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's football, and during the process, we knew someone else was going to do. That's how the game goes. Even like watching Drew Brees, he could be the best quarterback right now, standing, and another guy's going to jump him. It's just how it goes. So having guys like that, vets and people that have been in the game and know the game, just trusting them and listening to them, I had great advice.
Do you think you might be the most double-covered receiver in the league, especially since you operate in traffic so much?
I don't know, but as long as I'm getting open and catching the ball, I think I'll just whatever coverage it is.
How much pride do you take, though, in catching those tight window passes when you're not wide open a lot of times you're catching the ball?
I just have a lot of pride in my quarterback, the offense. I know we're just not here to just call plays. And I know Drew Brees doesn't make bad decisions. He has a high football IQ, so if he makes a decision, I have to make him right.
How does it feel to have that much money?
I don't have any money yet.
Oh, okay. Signing bonus hasn't dropped yet?
Nah, it hasn't.
We're not going to discuss it. How does it feel like to have the Jalen Ramsey Brinks trip pull up to you and drop? You work for all yours. You got it.
Phil, appreciate you. Now it's time to get this ring. Get better every day just by the coaches that we have every day. The coach is real hard. CJ is on us every second of the day. So I know that's why I value staying here. That's why I value, I wanted to be back here because I knew that, also with the coaches that I have, I could be the best player. Whatever I want to do, however I want to play, they're always going to correct me and they're always going to coach me hard.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
What's it like to have Mike Thomas back in practice?
We all know what Mike brings to the team. His energy, his work ethic, it's contagious. So it was great to see him 13 back out there today with that fire that he brings.
It doesn't look like he missed a beat.
Not at all. But we expected that from him. Whenever he came back, he was going to be ready.
Teron, do you view yourself and Ryan Ramczyk as the best duo tackles in the NFL?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Marcus Davenport was talking about how this offseason he did a bunch of yoga and maybe some non-traditional big man stuff to stay in shape. Do you do stuff like that as well in the offseason?
Yeah. We're all trying to find ways to stay on the field. Best ability is availability. So I did some yoga, Pilates as well. But we're all trying to find different ways to stay mobile and keep those soft tissue injuries away.
Has that been something that's kind of changed throughout your career? Maybe it's becoming more accepted for guys that do stuff like that instead of just doing the kind of weight training and stuff?
I think it's more knowledge, more science behind it. You got a lot of different facilities that's specializing in injury prevention and prehab opposed to rehab once the injuries happen. So just being more aware of it and getting more knowledge of these things has helped as the years go on.
Teron, not having Max Unger on board, who's the leader in that O-line meeting room? Have you taken it upon your shoulders to be that guy?
For sure. I definitely try to be the head of that room. Max was a great leader, great player for a long time, very smart guy that brought a lot to us as an entire team, really, his approach of the game. So we definitely miss Max, but myself and we got other guys too, Larry, Ryan Ramczyk, in just his third year, he's stepping up as well.
Any updated observations of the center position?
It's a close race, if you ask me. I'm looking like a scout. I'm trying to see what them guys doing. But Eric looks really good, man. He looks a lot more physical with the pads on, as you would assume. Cam Tom looks good as well. Nick and Will Clapp too. So it's been a close race, and just having that competition is going to make the position even better for us.
So Teron, since you're evaluating the line, seems like this is the best condition Andrews Pete has been in since he's been here.
He's taken his steps as a professional. He came in as a rookie with the unknowns, we all do, and they hit him hard. This humidity, this heat hit him hard. And every year he's stepped up and take the challenge. He's got his weight under control. He's working his butt off in the off season to come back and perform.
So is it ironic that this was the year he won the drawing to not do the conditioning test?
Yeah.
The year he was most ready to do it.
He was fortunate about that. That test is a beast, and I don't think there was no happier person in the state than Andrews when he won it.
But go back to Eric. He was kind of like an offensive MVP, locker room leader at Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
So is he? It's so early here. Do you get any sense of him finding a voice in the offensive line?
He better not say nothing. All he's not is playing. I can see that from him though. He got natural leadership ability. Even throughout the other young guys, you can see him take the forefront. So he has natural leadership abilities, and you can see that from him. He's still trying to learn so many parts right now, so it's kind of hard for him to be as vocal as he would want to. A lot of stuff we're not trying to hear what he got to say anyway. Rookies don't really get a chance to say too much.
You just want him to go get Sonic or whatever?
Just take the helmets in after practice and all that good stuff.
All right, Darren.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
Come back out, fly around with the guys again. It's great to get some guys back out here on the practice field with us, and just continue to get better each and every day and build towards our common goal.
You seem to have some kind of connection with Austin Carr out there today. What did y'all eat for breakfast this morning?
The thing about Austin, he has a great feel for the game. He's one of those guys who he plays with his eyes. He's able to react to what the defense is doing very well. And those guys in that room have been working extremely hard since the spring of trying to just become complete players, use their eyes, and react off instinct as well. So Austin is doing a great job of doing that, as you guys are aware of. And we've just had some chemistry.
What's your reaction to Michael Thomas signing his contract yesterday? And when you saw the numbers, is he buying you dinner?
Well, I'm pretty sure he'll do something special for the guys. He has a great heart. It's great to get a guy like him back out here with us. His energy, his presence on the field, you know he's here, and it's great to have him back.
There's some Mike Thomas J's you get on right now, or is your own?
Nah, these I'm waiting on my Mike Thomas J's. These from Teddy Bridgewater Jordans, I guess. But hopefully I can get a pair from Mike. Yeah.
Just having him back out now, you only missed about a week. Mike is going to be ready, but is it important to get this done sooner rather than later and have him kind of get back in the flow of things in the offense?
It's great to have a guy like Mike back here. Like I said, his presence is felt from the moment he steps in this building. He's a guy who comes to work, and he wears his hard hat every day. You're going to get 100% out of him no matter what he's doing. And it's great to have guys like that in this locker room. And it was great for that receiver room to get one of their leaders back. So we're all excited for him. we're excited that everything was able to get done, and now we can continue to build forward and move forward towards our common goal.
Teddy, when Sean was up here the other day, he said this offseason he was really worried about losing. Down.
What's that?
He said he was really worried about losing in this offseason to go somewhere else. What was that process like for you?
Well, it was a great feeling to be wanted. You know, thinking about a year and a half ago, I didn't know where I would end up. But you know, it's great to have a guy who will stand on the table for you and show that he wants you. And he's like that for all of his guys. And to have a coach like that, you want to play for a guy like that. And you know, we love coming to work every day. For Sean, he makes practice, you know, friendly for us as the players. He takes care of us, and we reward him by working hard. So to have that relationship that we have with our head coach is pretty spectacular. Thank you.
Thanks, Ted.